certified. Get certified, you know that you still on that we're wearing it out. It's been on the agenda, I think, for 3 months. Hey, man, how'd the party in the park go? Good?
I get it.
That's a problem.
You ready?
I was
You guys
telling
ready?
my wife, because my wife's from Lawrenceburg. I always say, you know, there's a reason why they make up.
Welcome, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg Board of Works meeting for August 5th, 2019, with a roll call, please.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr. Here. Board Member Alan Calloway.
Here.
Assistant Police Chief David Schneider.
Present.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark.
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Zach Anderson.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
And myself.
Okay, any announcements for this meeting? You guys got anything for this meeting? I don't. If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? That motion will carry. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
I passed out July's run volume to everybody. Mooch, if you don't have it, I got a copy for you. We had 77 total runs for July, and we are gonna probably pass up our high of 800 calls last year. This year, we're probably gonna pass that up. If anybody has any questions, just let me know. And also, just let the board know that one of our full-time guys will be starting fire inspector class next month. It's a district class and it'll be held in Greensburg. So I put it out to all the full-time guys and only one had interest. So
Who was that, John?
Alex Haved.
Alex.
Yeah. That's all I have.
All right. Assistant Police Chief David Schneider.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would like to ask the Board of Works if it would be okay if we could start the, or if I could get the approval to start the hiring process for Larry Seaver. He's our clerk. He's retiring in September. We have to go through the process, post the bid, do all that.
That's just an internal posting, job listing.
Yeah, I want to be
Job
able to start the
posting,
union
right.
process, posting the bid. It has to stay up for a couple weeks or something like that.
What's, when's he retired?
I believe September 29th,
Okay.
so.
Okay. Is Jenny aware of it?
Yes, she is. Yeah.
Okay, because she'll take care of posting that.
Yes, sir.
Like to make a motion, let him move forward with his plan.
Okay, second? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A lot of people retiring. All right, EMS Director Rick Clark.
Thanks, Mayor. Nothing really to report. Our new full-time person is starting tonight, so I'm going to go there after this and check on them. And then George Ross's position is now posted, so we'll be doing some application
And George is retiring August
at
29th?
the end of August. Yeah.
Or August 30? Okay. All right, thank you.
Mayor, can I ask Johnny a question?
Sure.
I was sitting here thinking, fire inspector, is that for inspecting causes of fires or?
No, that's for, we're required to go around yearly in there, any commercial business. So, it helps in that process. I'm a fire inspector, so it'd be nice to get one more.
Go around looking for violations
Oh, yeah.
or help
Yeah.
the buildings? and-
Yeah, as soon as Carl gets them occupied, then it falls within the realm of the fire department.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, new business. I have nothing for the Board of Works tonight unless you all have something that wasn't on the agenda. Likewise for old business. If nothing, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries, and a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion will carry. Parks and playgrounds as soon as we're seated. Always waiting on Tony. Turn that off so I don't forget it. All right, I'd like to call to order the Lawrenceburg Parks and Playground meeting for August the 5th, 2019 with a roll call, please.
Board Member Tony Abbott.
Here.
Board Member Aaron Cook.
Here.
Board Member Mel Davis.
Here.
Board Member Randy Abner.
Here.
Board Member Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Zach Anderson.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore.
Here.
President Kelly Milan.
Here.
Myself.
All right. Any announcements? I've got a couple related to this. We're putting up those lights at Arch Street. They're gonna go up on existing poles, so they won't be any new poles going up or anything, to help with that void on the dimness. Also, the Park Playground Committee for up on the hill, we're actually meeting with that group again at 6 o'clock at the park on Wednesday. And then I'll just keep you guys abreast on how that's progressing and what they end up coming back with, and once we get some kind of a number. And actually, we had three people show up at the last meeting. But we think it was just, there was some traffic and things like that, so. But there's 10 people that have signed up. So. All right, that's all announcements I got for this meeting. Anybody else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes, previous meeting.
Moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. New business, Brian Messmore, Relay for Life.
Yes, thank you. I have a couple folks here from the Relay who are here to take any questions. I'll allow them to introduce themselves as I review their request, but first of all, they express their gratitude for the use of the park this year, and it went so well that they would like to request permission to hold the Relay for Life event again here at Todd Creech Memorial Park for 2020. The date would be Saturday, May 16th from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. They've had some favorable comments and also learned some things, probably do things just a little bit different. But would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yes. Excuse me. My name is Kathy Tabarin. I'm the staff partner with the American Cancer Society.
Can you come to the podium?
Yeah.
Hello. My name is Kathy Tabarin. I'm the ACS community staff partner with the American Cancer Society. And we do thank you so much for letting us have the park last year. It worked out very well, had very favorable comments. We usually have held it at South Dearborn High School, but it worked out very well for us, and we'd like to request the same privileges for this coming year in 2020. Josh Ritchie is with me. He is the lead volunteer representative for the Relay for Life here in Dearborn County, Dearborn, Ohio, I should say, county.
Okay.
Kathy, what was our fund total for this year?
We raised almost $100,000.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very,
Great.
yeah.
Any questions? Any comments? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve the use of Todd Creech Park for next May 16th for Relay for Life. So moved. Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Okay, any other new business for parks?
Mayor, that note I had for Living Lands and Waters, will that be on council or should that be parks?
You know what? We can do it right here.
All right, thank you.
I think you guys remember this, the cleanup company, Living Lands and Waters, actually used our boat docks, I think, this past year. They park a barge there or something, and
They park a couple trailers, boat trailers and trucks, and then they
bring stuff in by.
they bring stuff in, and they park the barge over on the other side of the river
Right.
during that time period. But they go in and out of the boat docks several times, and they've indicated that they might even have some kids on a field trip down there on a bus during that time to talk about the environment and the river and the waterways. So
And there's no fishing tournaments that you know of those dates?
Yeah, they work around them.
Okay.
They work around them.
Okay.
They leave their stuff short, and
Because
last year I think they got something like, it was ridiculous, 13,000 pounds of debris from,
there's quite a few.
yeah.
I think the dates they're looking at is September 19th through the 27th.
yeah, and I got the email after the agendas were put together. So
Yeah.
and they kind of needed to know ahead of time, assuming it would be okay, but wanted to make sure we formalized the request.
Any questions regarding that event? You guys remember that? We authorized them to use that last year. If you guys are okay with it, I would entertain a motion to approve that.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other new business? Old business.
I got one thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I was wondering, since the pool, the splash park renovation should be getting underway here in a few months, if we could get a new diagram, unless it's the same as that one.
You mean the timeline?
The timeline, the drawing of what's going to be there and what's not.
We haven't actually seen the exact placement of everything yet.
Yeah, we have. We've got, they just dropped it off last Friday, so we'll get it blown.
Okay.
Excuse me, blown up and moved in.
We'll have it for the 22nd.
Okay, that'd be fine. Thank you.
Meeting. Yep, good question.
I got a couple things.
Yes, sir.
Did we call ATC yet about the ramp and getting the overlay on the
We do,
sonar?
we actually have the overlay, in-house.
So we've got it ready?
We do have it. We've got the final product, and we did get word today from the, Corps about the, maintenance agreement.
Can we see the overlay?
Sure, we can pass it out.
Okay, next meeting?
Sure.
All right. And then I've got a new one at the racetrack. I guess is there a bank of lights that are out? And the reason why I wanna ask is when we had problems over at our park with Musco, we found out that we have a lifetime guarantee. And if there's a problem on them lights, are they under warranty?
Were they Musco lights too?
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole whole area?
Well, if we've got a problem over there, it might not be any cost to us.
Yeah.
Unless it's a wiring.
The Musco lights we have at the track, you're right, they're guaranteed for like 20 years. They've been in for the last probably 3 years, replaced modules. I think what you're talking about is the pole there at the pits.
I'm not, Rudy just told me we have a bank of lights out.
That would be there at the pits, and it is a wire problem, I think Olin, you're probably familiar with this, but 2 years ago, I think we had an issue back here by the tech building.
Yeah, that's
I think it's just one pole that it's going in the ground for whatever reason. I think Musco sent a tech in to work with Olin's folks, and I don't know what ever came about it.
That's been 2 years ago, probably Mario, maybe 2.5 years ago. We isolated the fault on our side at least, and I don't think we've had a problem with them since. At least if we have, I don't know about it.
I just got approached Thursday or Wednesday.
This would be on the northwest turn that we
Right.
were looking at.
Right at the tech building,
I'm not familiar
where
with
the
the
new
tech building.
where the new restrooms at, over in the pit area.
Again, I'm not.
Oh, I can check with Dave to find out if there's a new issue.
Check with Rudy if you could, Mario.
That's where we were.
See if it's something new or if it's the same.
Okay.
We just put it on a list, check it out, look into it, and if we need to hire a subcontractor or something, let's try to get it taken care of.
I know when we looked at that, somebody had gone in and taken a tap out of that transformer in that panel for the lights and run it over to a building. And that was an issue. It was really, it wasn't per code, it wasn't grounded. And I want to say that we isolated that away from the service that went to the lights.
I'll check with Dave, just to make sure there's no new issues and get back with you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. All right. If no other old business, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion will carry. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion will carry. I'd like to call to order Lawrenceburg City Council meeting for August 5th, 2019. All rise for the pledge, please.
Young man, would you remove your hat?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Can I get a roll call, Mr. Richardson?
Councilperson Tony Abbott.
Here.
Councilperson Aaron Cook.
Here.
Councilperson Mel Davis.
Here.
Councilperson Randy Abner.
Here.
Councilperson Paul Seymour Jr.
Here.
Assistant Police Chief David Schneider.
Present.
Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Here.
EMS Director Rick Clark. Assistant City Attorney Zach Anderson.
Here.
City Coordinator Brian Messmore. City Court Judge Joe Johns.
Here.
Mayor Kelly Milan.
Here.
Myself.
Okay, announcement, yeah.
Can I just clear something up? The last several meetings I've been to in city council, I sit and listen to and go through the list of people who are here, including people who aren't listed on the sheet. And every time, and I've been passive aggressive about it, I've been direct about it, my name is skipped every time. So if I'm not needed at this meeting, I cannot attend this meeting. If I am needed at this meeting, I would appreciate a little respect and have my name called out so that the record reflects that I'm here.
Okay.
Good way to start out a meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, announcements, board reports, streets, alleys, and curbs, Mr. Cook.
Two things, Mayor. The first one is, I don't know, maybe Mario knows more about this, but the new arch they're putting up over there by Arch Street Park, they got it
sir.
up. I don't know how high the clearance is. If it's low, do we need to get a clearance sign there, or is it a normal height?
We raised it actually about 1.5 feet higher than what the old elevation, so we should have plenty of clearance.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna check on that. And then the other thing was, I have somebody that has a handicap placard in their vehicle, and they live on Front Street. Should I tell them to contact Mike Clark to get a spot further in front of their house?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. On Front Street here?
Yeah, 240 Front.
Okay.
All right, that's all I have, Mayor.
While we're speaking about the arch, today we actually placed some colored vinyl on the letters.
That'd be great.
We put 4 different colors. If you got your choice, maybe if council has time, take a peek at it, pick what color they'd like to have highlighted on that lettering.
Also, that's not gonna stay there, huh? Just
Yeah.
The different colors aren't gonna stay.
It's your choice.
I'm sure that'll be on Facebook.
I like blue.
Yeah, we
I'll
can
get
take a look.
something on
You
that.
guys stop by, take a look. If you got a preference, let them know and we'll,
I got something on the streets, alley, and curbs, I guess, 'cause it's the storm sewer in the alley. At the Edinburgh, when we get a good rain, if you're looking at the Edinburgh apartments, on the right-hand side, the water, all the roof water flows down to the right-hand side, and it's flooding the neighbor's land. And I think if we put a different drainage system, because the storm sewer is there, but it's above the ground.
It's all the way to the back on the canoe side of the
Right.
property there. We
Right.
plan on putting a 6-inch pipe down through the side there.
And you're gonna run into the storm
Correct.
drain there?
Correct.
Okay, below it? Great. All right, it takes care of that.
As soon as we get contractors freed up.
We're tired of getting water in the little house.
Okay.
I was there and looked at it after the water, and you can see the water was at least a foot deep, and there was a 2 by 12-foot long board. It actually floated that board.
okay. All right.
So there's,
We'll move that up.
all right.
It seems like our 20-year storm events are happening like bi-weekly now, so.
Yeah,
Okay.
all righty.
Anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay, Finance, Tony Abbott.
We're good.
Parks and Playgrounds, Mr. Seymour.
Good.
Fire, Randy Abner.
Just thought everybody might need to know that Chief Tremaine informed me that we have automatic defibrillators in all the staff vehicles, or we are about to have those in there. You got them in there?
They're in there, they're in
They're
our
now.
vehicles and
Okay.
Rick's vehicles.
Okay, so if you see them out, there's a defibrillator in each one of the vehicles.
Okay.
They've been used once already.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Can I back up the streets, alleys, and curbs?
Sure.
Got this road down lower, but, 3 Mile Ridge just got paid.
Yes.
Went up and looked at it, they did a great job, everybody's happy, but we got a lot of valve boxes that are 4 or 5 inches low. Whose responsibility, is that gas companies, water companies?
No, those-
Contractor?
Those are water valves. There's 10 of them. We're waiting on the city or utilities to supply the contractor with those valve boxes. So hopefully this week or first of next week they'll be in.
Is
But I guess to
there-
answer your question, the contractor is gonna install
the contractor gonna
them.
raise them?
Install them, correct.
All right.
And the problem was, Paul, they vary in sizes. There's like 4-inch PVC pipe that they've kind of makeshift tops for. So what Andy's gonna do is go with our standard size top, and the contractor will adjust them to grade.
Okay, and then he'll cut it, put a square in and do
Correct, to
it?
be a concrete square there.
Okay. And we can push that a little bit. They're
Like I say,
ankle
as soon as they come in, they should be right on them.
They are ankle
breakers. All right,
breakers.
thank you.
Anything else, Paul?
Nope.
Okay. Any other thing under announcements, guys? I've got a,
Mayor, I've got one issue. If you recall, a couple weeks ago, probably 4, maybe 6 weeks ago, we brought up the grease trap ordinance under the Utility Service Board. That was supposed to be moved to the Common Council for ratification. Myself and the attorneys have sent a couple emails to Dell trying to get that on the agenda. It hadn't appeared on the agenda now for 2 meetings. I want to make sure that it's on the agenda for our next upcoming council meeting.
we can get it on there for the 22nd.
Thank you.
Zach,
Yes, sir.
Yes.
I'd like to put that in your hands. I wanna make sure it gets done. I'm losing my faith in Mr. Wilt.
But give him a little bit of a break right now. We've been.
He ain't getting a little bit of a break from me. I've been watching some emails.
Anyway. Okay, any other announcements?
We've got our debt management report. That was in all your all's packets. That's from the bond rating for the redevelopment commission and for the GO general obligation bonds for the Lawrenceburg City Council. This has been passed to Brian Messmore for redevelopment. So if you take this to your redevelopment meeting and present this to them, let everybody on redevelopment have a copy of it. Just a note on the bonds, you guys did pretty good on that. We had projected everything at 5%. The interest rate actually came in at 2.5 to 3. So we'll start at 2.5%. We will never exceed 3%. So that, of course, takes the interest expense down. We also projected 20 to 25 years. We went out 15, and that is on the back of your monthly financial report. Also included in that going forward will be our grants submitted. Grants submitted and award, that'll be on page 26. All of this has been put online. Debt management report is online. The financial report is online as well. If anybody has any questions, just let us know.
All right. Okay. Any other announcements? I've got one, just for, and it'll be published as well. We're moving the August 19th meeting to August 22nd, and it'll start at 5 o'clock on that Thursday. So we'll have it posted and everything.
That was the meeting scheduled for the Monday?
The 19th, yes,
Okay.
was moved to that Thursday.
All right,
We can
thanks.
post it, but I'm not sure about the time. I'll have to check that.
I checked it today.
It
We've
says
got it
five.
right.
5 o'clock? Yes. I think there's an LCD meeting that night, and then there's music on the river. We're trying to satisfy both of them. All right. No other announcements. I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Committee reports, Fire Chief Johnny Tremaine.
Everybody should have a copy of July's run volume. If you have any questions, just let me know.
All right. Assistant Police Chief David Snyder.
Nothing, Mayor.
Okay. EMS Director Rick Clark.
Nothing to report, thanks.
You guys are making it sound like you don't do anything.
Yeah, these two.
Johnny, you're the only one that does anything. Just kidding. Just kidding.
I'll have a lot next time.
Just kidding. All right. City Court Judge Joe Johns.
Thank you, Mayor. The Lawrenceburg City Court had 278 cases filed in the month of July, which brings us to the year-to-date total of 1,804 cases filed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, new business. Brandon Lorton asked to have this tabled to the 22nd, so we will do that. They were going to come and present a thank you. Something came up. Next thing I would like to bring before you, though, is the annual Ivy Tech Monster Mash Dash 5K on October 19th. Just need, Mr. Graver is here to get some approval.
Thank you, Mayor. Ivy Tech is requesting permission to host our 5th annual Monster Mass Dash at our Lawrenceburg Riverfront campus. It's a 5K walk-run. It's on October 19th at 8:30 a.m. Costumes are encouraged. You can enjoy a morning run or walk along the spectacular scenic Ohio River. Do you want me to say it again?
Yes.
Okay,
Go
some of
ahead.
you got it, some of you didn't. Brian, you didn't get it, did you?
No.
Spectacular. Okay, I'm just reading off of this. Family-friendly activities for the young goblins. Tons of door prizes. The proceeds from this 5K run walk will go towards the Ivy Tech Student Emergency Scholarship Fund. And as of today, early registration is $20, and I have plenty of applications for anyone in the room. Johnny Tremaine, I think he's already got his filled out to participate. So that's all I have. This is the 5th annual, and obviously this scholarship is used towards Ivy Tech students that are in some kind of a emergency situation. So very successful program, and we generally have anywhere from 75 to 100 walkers. And obviously the big thing is always the weather. So we're counting on really good weather on the 19th of October. That's all I have, Mayor.
All right. Any questions for Mr. Graver? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the opportunity.
I'll make the motion, we go ahead and approve this.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
On behalf of Ivy Tech, thank you very much.
Motion carried. Thank you. Sit down. Nobody's called you. No, come on up. Mr. Logan Lawrence.
Good evening. So last week, since we closed the book for this year's car show, I'm here to ask for the city's approval for Sunday, May 3rd, 2020, to bring the 4th annual Cruising to a Cure for ALS car show. This year had 448 cars, raised $24,200. And along with that, I asked for the city's support again with a sponsorship of $5,000, use of any streets that we need. Most likely going to be High and Walnut Street, provide a few portalets, and then also a stage again this year. And I'd like to go ahead and book availability for May 2nd, Saturday, of the Civic Park. I have some plans in the mix if I can figure out how to balance it all, to have some sort of cruise in, live music, and some sort of dinner for participants to promote more people to come spend the weekend for the show. Because I know I've done research, a lot of shows in especially Kentucky area, they do a weekend event. And we had 34 hotel rooms booked at Doubletree this year. We'd like to double that, triple that, people coming downtown. So, like I said, I don't know for sure if that'll be something set in stone, but I wanted to just come ask for the city's approval before I go to school next week.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we go ahead and accept this.
Let me make one comment. Before we accept the May 2nd thing, I wouldn't want to schedule it if it's not a for sure thing.
We can wait.
So we don't keep people from using the park.
Okay.
But as soon as you get that piece of it scheduled, just call me and we'll get it.
We'll get it.
Since we're a sponsor.
Okay.
Can I clarify too? Did you say May 2nd? The
Sunday.
May 3rd is the car show?
Correct. Yep.
There's a question on the 2nd, right?
Yes.
And then also along with that, just if you guys would consider possibly trying to figure out if it's possible, the sound system to make it wired up for a DJ or announcer, because that's about the only complaint I've had. And then us not having enough barricades to properly block all the streets so that your regular everyday traffic can come through. But those aren't musts. It's just if we can make it. Those are the only complaints I've really had.
You having any complaints on the weather, have you?
No, not yet.
No. Okay, I'll entertain a motion on May 3rd, ask for the ALS car show.
I'll make that motion then.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Carries. Thank you, Logan. Okay, the next item is we got building inspector conflict ordinance.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. This is just an ordinance we drafted in response to a law that went into effect on the 1st of July. It's just a short section of the Indiana Code that requires, in the instance of a conflict of interest, for a building inspector or the building commissioner, that we adopt a procedure here locally to address that. The procedure that we've gone with locally is if the Lawrenceburg, or the procedure that this ordinance proposes is that if the Lawrenceburg building inspector or building commissioner has a conflict, then we just reach out to the county building commissioner or building inspector and have him come over and oversee the application, permit, and issuance process.
So this is something the state instituted?
Yes.
Any questions? You guys got any questions? If not, this is ordinance number 9-2019. I'd entertain a motion to approve ordinance number 9-2019 on the first reading, if it's unanimously approved.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. Okay, any other new business for folks up here? If not, you guys, I go to old business. You have the donation committee recommendations, the two that are mentioned, and none that were not funded. Any questions regarding those? If not, I entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. All right, and then the other old business, Mr. Richardson, ethics ordinance.
This would be ordinance dash 10, number 2019. As I'm sure everybody's aware, this is the third revision for the ethics ordinance that we've had. I think this meets the expectations that you've all had for it. We've made the changes you'd like to see. Just asking tonight if you'd want to vote up or down on accepting the ordinance 10-2019.
Any questions? If not, I'd entertain a motion to approve ethics ordinance 10-2019 on the first reading, provided that it is a unanimous vote.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Who seconded that?
Randy.
Randy? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries for the third time.
Got it, though.
Yeah.
Did it.
Okay, any other old business?
Yeah, I have one thing, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Well, two things, actually.
Yes, sir.
Where are we at on the property appraisals for the properties the city owns on, Walnut and High?
I didn't check with Jamie. Can I get you that answer first thing in the morning?
Yeah, no hurry, just whenever you get it.
I should have checked on that today. If they should be done, or if not closed, we can bring them to the 8/22
Okay.
meeting, but I will check on those. Okay, anything else?
Yeah, one more thing. I guess last week at Music on the River, someone unplugged the beer trailer.
Yes.
I was wondering if the police department could look at the cameras. Because I guess it just wasn't unplugged and thrown on the ground. It was unplugged and like wedged up behind the outlet. Like it was made it look like it was still plugged in. I guess a lot of kegs where it got warm. And
Did he make an official complaint, Dave?
Well,
No, not an official complaint. I did hear from the complainant. He left me a message today. I've yet to get back with him, but he gave me a time frame in which that happened. I can just go ahead and answer that, Mayor. And we talked about this today. The camera that points in that direction, set up from the new Civic Park, it's one of those deals, if you move that camera 1 inch, you open up your field of view about 110 foot. So it's right on the line of not seeing, the back side of this. You can see the front side, what's more important where the people gather, but you just can't. So, and I'm gonna follow up with him.
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you.
Your Honor? Yes, sir.
Is there any way that we can encourage people that come to Music on the River or some other function in the Civic Park to use the garage instead of
The garage
Street.
gets filled up.
parking, does it?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it really is getting filled up when we have the events. And this Thursday night, I'm assuming will be no change from that.
Yeah.
It'll be a big one Thursday night. Yeah, I was gonna address a little bit about that too,
Okay.
but, go ahead.
Can they, make some type of guard over the city garage, Mario, to where we could mount it on something when that gets plugged in to where somebody couldn't pull it?
We can put a lockbox on the,
Could we do something like that, maybe put a box up there with the.
Good idea.
I know there's something we can do to correct that. So, I mean, that would help. I don't know how it's being done right now, but if it's just a matter of walking up and unplugging it, we could sure go one step better than that.
Yeah, good point.
take care of it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other old business?
Yeah, I got something.
Yes, sir.
I feel is pretty important, but I wanna know everybody else's. You know, I would like to have the, rate study looked at again. I just am not happy with anything that took place, and I wanna know how everybody else feels about it. There's been a lot go on in this community since then, and I've been following some emails, and I'm not happy with what's done, and I either wanna have a special meeting on it, I want to get something done. We had a deadline August 2nd, and if we don't have information, we don't have it, but we made votes, and there was things said that weren't happening, so I wanna know how everybody else feels and how we wanna handle this.
What you wanna do is look at the study again, or?
I'd like to have another presentation. I'd like to have another vote, and, that's what I want. But I also want conversation, and if you guys don't wanna do it, that's fine. I'll keep my mouth shut. But everybody here's seen the emails that's been going around, and I'm not real happy about it.
I think we ought to bring the ordinances up again. If the utility didn't need the funding, and I'm sure they wouldn't have asked for it, having been in that situation before, I just think it's a good idea to look at them again, have another presentation, and see where it goes from there.
Well, if you would, going through the entire chain of events, I feel that there were comments that were made, especially going through the emails that were sent out, that were, I don't know what other word to use, deceptive in how they were presented to this council and to this utility service board. And the comments that were made had an impact on how potential votes were cast and potentially how a veto came down.
Well, I can tell you right now, it didn't have it did not have an effect on the veto.
Okay, that's fine, but the veto had an effect on litigation with MGPI, which is ongoing for all three communities. And I think it is in the best interest to try to reevaluate the validity of those rates that were proposed and try to put some of this behind us, some of the litigation.
Well, let's be clear though.
Let's be real clear about it. If you
Let me
had some
speak first.
information that you felt you vetoed it, then I wanna see it.
I didn't have any
because I might-
information.
You said you had some.
My information was based upon the results of the study that was done at the SDRSD. Okay? It was done by the same group.
It had no validity in the study that was done by the group for us.
This lawsuit that we're talking about has nothing to do with the sewer and water rates, only electric. And electric was not discussed
That's
and
not correct.
vetoed.
That's not correct.
That is correct.
That is not correct. The lawsuit with MGPI was settled and would have gone away had it not been for the veto. And that is the
The
fact.
lawsuit with Lawrenceburg Power I'm talking about. So, if you guys want to bring it back up, it's up to you guys to bring it back up.
I wanna bring it back up.
Well, if you get the votes, then bring it back up.
My vote won't change.
I think we.
But if you want to have a meeting on it, I'm perfectly willing to have another meeting on it.
That's what I mean. I don't mind hearing it again, but it's not gonna mean I want to change my vote. If Paul wants to hear more, I don't mind him hearing more about it, but.
We can do that.
I wanna hear it again, and I want any information that, I should have the same opportunity. Well, there was statements said that there was studies made by Reedy and Umball that contradicted the presentation that Mr. Clausen made. And now that information's not there.
I don't think they're in documents.
There isn't any documents. You're absolutely right. And I'm sitting here thinking.
But it did not affect my vote, okay?
Well,
It did not.
it affects me sitting here that I think I got a lawyer that's working against the city of Lawrenceburg. When we paid all the money, this group paid all this money to have a study done, and we wait for, I don't know how long and how much money it costs to put a study like that
It cost
together.
us about $30,000 per rate study, and it took us 6 months to compile the information. That information was presented to this committee during the first reading. Mr. Abbott suggested that he didn't want to hear all the details because the Bengals were playing that night, and suggested that it just get approved to move to the second meeting, which it did. In the second meeting, the rate study was read, and then afterwards, it was suggested that there wasn't enough time to review the documents or the information that was in the first rate study, even though during the first time they said, we don't want to hear it, there's a football game on, so don't bother us with the details. So it's a little disingenuous that my staff and I spend $60,000 and 5 months working on something that was just dismissed. And that has resulted in a couple things. It's resulted in a lawsuit with MGPI that has been prolonged, cost all three communities money. And it's also resulted, because of the comments that were made in that meeting that night, that there's been demand for documents from our city attorney that he refuses to turn over. And I'm adamant about this because this has a tremendous effect on the utility and all of the ratepayers. It literally means that if we are unsuccessful in this litigation, that there's no choice but to raise the rates on the consumers.
On which utilities?
On the electric, all of them.
That's what I'm saying. Why does the electric have anything to do with the water and sewer
Because
that I vetoed?
Because they were all part of the discussion that night. What's being asked?
The electric rate did not get vetoed.
No, but what's being asked for by opposing counsel are the comments made specific to the electric rate by Mr. Weldon, which he refuses to turn over.
And he didn't have the reports. Greedy Financial Group and Umball never completed the report. Never started, like he said. And I am having a real hard time with the city lawyer telling me a lie in a meeting.
Okay, well,
We
we'll
gotta
have
work
another,
on that.
we'll have a meeting to have a presentation. How's that?
That'll work.
I don't know if he's told us a lie because he has not had a chance to defend himself yet, Paul. This was brought up the other meeting.
He's had 5 months.
The guy has been, he's
5
in the
months to
hospital
answer,
or out of
Tony.
the hospital. He's not had a chance to
He's had
defend
5
himself.
months. He's
But
had
you guys
5 months.
sitting up here keep calling him a liar without the man sitting there.
You know what?
He's had 5
Nobody's
months.
called him a liar, but before he
You said
went
he's
into
lying
the
to you.
hospital, before he went into the hospital, I asked him in a meeting. And Kelly, after he answered it, I asked you, how do you feel about it? And you said, I did not base my decision on what he said.
I did.
Okay, so Tony, he has admitted that he had, and he actually said that he's the one that told Reedy and Umball to do the report and the review.
I don't agree or disagree with that, Paul. I don't know, but I don't think it's
Oh,
not,
I
I don't
know.
think
I
it's
heard him
proper
say it.
etiquette to call somebody a liar when they're not there to defend themselves.
Tony,
It's not right.
I'm not calling him a liar, but what I am saying is that he's had 5 months to respond. And when we got the request for documentation, it took my staff and I an hour and a half to produce all the documents.
Why don't you guys just call for a meeting? We could have had a work session and had this all worked out instead of doing this bull back and forth.
What's the difference in doing it in the
This
meeting?
is the only way we can get things done. Dale's not wanting to schedule anything on this because he has been
That's
very
not his,
misleading.
that's
on
not his job to do that. I can get it
I admit
scheduled.
there's a lot of things not his job, Kelly, but he does a whole lot of stuff. And I think there's a lot of people sitting up here that ain't real happy. This ain't the only thing. So, you know, we gotta,
Don't forget that, well, I'm not gonna,
And Olin,
I'm not gonna get into
I
it.
don't, I wanna remember things. You remind me what I'm not supposed to forget.
I spoke to you, Olin, about these rates, of how we could generate more money on one side and lower the other side.
You did. We absolutely
And
talked about
nothing
that.
ever came of that.
No, that's not true. I've had the people that we worked on the rates evaluate what you and I talked about. But that is a separate, completely separate issue over
I know
what
it's
the
I know it's
opposing
separate.
council is demanding from our city attorney. That's a totally different issue.
Okay. Comments from the audience? Yes, sir.
Well, it's gonna make some people mad. Okay, y'all just approved an ethics ordinance. All right, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. When I was in the military, we had a law. It was called improper fraternization, meaning that me as an officer, I could not date, socialize, hang out with, have a beer with, go fishing with a subordinate in my unit. Now, when I look on Facebook and I see a board member, a council member going fishing with an employee, it's wrong. And you guys just passed an ethics thing, and every meeting I attend, it's two-sided. It's those two right there, buddies as buddy can be, defending one another against the rest of the group. Now, it leads me to believe that it's improper, it's compromising, and it's not right as a councilman and a board member that you allow an employee of the city to entertain you, your father, your wife, or anybody. Thank you all.
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Hello. I was on a bike ride today up on the levee, and I noticed they had a big auger, and there's probably 60 or 70 different holes there drilling. Can you, it's over at the apartment complex,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Dennis Hutchins, 291 East Center Street. Can you tell me if that's just testing, or is there something going on, or? I'm just curious.
It's part of the soil testing for the borings that they're gonna have to do.
Okay, just curious, because it looked like a big project, so.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
That's what it is. Yes, sir.
Chris, I want to give you an update on the convention we had last month.
Oh, great.
First of all, let me thank the city for supporting us. Let me say that working with everybody in the city was a pleasure. Every problem that came up, these guys worked with me. A lot of the problems were self-induced, having never dealt with a city. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. You know, in the past, these conventions have always been like at a hotel where the hotel management, you dealt with them and no one else. So dealing with a city was a different experience for me. But every time I stubbed my toe, these guys bailed me out. That's all I can say. And the convention went well. It went great. All the now this is a national convention, people from all over the country. We never got one complaint. Everybody was so thrilled with the town, the way everything went, how smooth it ran, the facilities, and they just loved the atmosphere. Now, I will say this. Next year it's in Wichita. My understanding is, in the past, local clubs put these events on. My understanding is the national wants to go to where they go back to the same place, pick like 4 or 5 spots, one down south, one Midwest, one East Coast, one West Coast, and like every 4 years round robin it. Now, I don't know if the city wants to get involved in it again, but if they had, I'd be glad to work with anybody that wants to contact them, give them the contact numbers. But they're wanting to get into where they can bring it back to the same location like every 4 years. Like this year it'd be here, next year it's in Wichita, maybe next year it'll be in, last year was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, not Harrisburg, Valley Forge. So they basically try to go East Coast, middle of the country, West Coast, North, South. So
They would actually work through the event center to bring that back to town, and then they would work with us if they, you know, the council at that point.
But just so you guys know that it made such an impression that they
Good.
said they would like to consider this as one of their options, so.
Well, thank you, buddy.
And they put an article out. I had 9 copies made. I didn't know how many people were here.
Thanks, sir.
It's tell us a little bit about it. It's when the guy got back, Mel's already read it, I had. Yes. But, anyway, as soon as he got back, you know, these magazines go out 2 months. Printing has to be 2 months in advance, so he just threw a quick 1 page. Next month, there'll be a whole complete thing with all the pictures of the show. But everybody I talk to, and usually at these conventions, there's always somebody that's got a burr in their saddle. But this time we didn't. It ran really smooth. And I can't thank the fire chief, the police chief, and I guess the safety director. I probably have more dealings with Mike than anybody for barricading and stuff like that. But everybody that I talked to was just tremendous.
Great.
So
Glad you had a great experience.
yeah, it was great. And I just wanted everybody to know that. So I made a
Thanks,
trip
buddy.
down here tonight just for that reason. So
Thank
we
you.
thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Krebs, for bringing them here. And also, I talked to some of the merchants. It was a good week and weekend for them also. A lot of the folks went shopping, ate at the local restaurants.
I
spent a
know
lot
some of the
money.
restaurants, I was here from Sunday to Sunday. The show didn't start till Tuesday. So as I went out to dinner, I would tell the restaurants, we got 700-800 people coming in. You want to stock up. And I know the boat ran out of food to French fries the first night. And I think Strom's Pizza run out of something.
Pizza?
Here, I think it was.
Probably that too. Dave, do you know, I don't think we had any incidents at all, did we, that week?
No, no
Everybody
whatsoever.
behaved, and you know, you got all these muscle cars in town, nobody got pulled over for drag racing, so it went pretty good. I mean, they were a well-behaved bunch. Either that or they were sneakier than us, one or the other, but anyway, it was a great event, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Your Honor,
The state of Indiana has very specific laws associated with what elected officials and people in my position can and can't do. And I can assure you that at no time were any of those laws violated. The fact that I'm a friend with some of the people that are board members or work in the city is not a subject of debate, nor is it a legal question. And if I choose to spend my time that is away from this office and my job with the people that I enjoy, doing things that I enjoy, it is absolutely nobody's business but my own. And so I am not wrong. And I push back on your comments that we acted inappropriately. I have friends, I've associated with every single person on this, up here at the lectern, in one way or another. And my job does not reach into my personal life and dictate what I can or cannot do in my personal life, so long as it is not contrary to the law.
Employee. You can't seem to get that through your head.
I-
You work for the city and the people of Lawrenceburg.
And I work for
You do
them.
not own Lawrenceburg. You do not spend Lawrenceburg's
Tim.
money.
Tim.
You work for a board.
Tim.
You're wrong.
That's enough. All right. Any other comments from the audience? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Move.
Second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Hey, was Bill happy?
Good, how you doing?
All right, bud. Hey, Mark.
Yeah. I am too. We'll have to talk. I'll get maybe